Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Hey, I got it for you. I'm going to hold it for you. Nah, I'm holding it for you. All right, we got questions. Questions. Oh, you going to make them another one? I did. Whatever. Hey, all the kids' planes got took. You heard her? You heard her, right? She said, "Oof." Yeah, I know. All right, we got questions. Questions, Q&A. Questions pertaining to the lesson. Questions, just general questions we may have been dealing with throughout the week. And we'll try our best to answer the questions according to the Bible. With that being said, Jola, nah, you having a bad. I ain't going to say nothing else to you. You good. You good right there. Smile. Questions, anybody? She got one.
Okay.
She got one.
So this question is everybody be quiet. Inside voice.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so my question is pertaining to the lesson. Because you said something about how the wives can't divorce the husband, and if the husband is basically doing wrong, that you just gotta just deal with it. So what I'm asking here is, why is it that within Israel we have to, as women, just deal, whereas if you guys, men of Israel, deal with it or go through it, y'all can just put us away, but we got to just deal with it. I want to know, where is the logic or the simplicity in that, because it does not compute or add up to me.
Okay. Hey, can you put on the banner too, Lexi? Can you put on the banner Q&A too? It ain't on there. So, good question. So, so the lesson, right? The lesson was taught today based on the perspective of everybody dealing with the word, right? So Israel ain't never supposed to put their wives away, ever. You know what I mean? So kind of what we saw in Matthew chapter 5, you know, Jesus gave you a pass, and the pass was that if your wife is committing adultery, then those would be the grounds of you putting her away. But let's go to Deuteronomy 24 real quick. But that was just kind of like the order and how it was all established, far as in like the divorce decree It was never, put in the hand of the woman to hand it to her husband. Now, what they did, we're going to read some of that too. It's like, when the man was acting out of pocket, like we saw in Deuteronomy 22, is that they took the guy to the elders because he had tried to bring up an evil report on the woman that he said wasn't a maiden. And he was taken to the elders. They chastised him, and he had to come up off of some money, some more money, because of the fact that, he was bringing an evil report upon the virgins of Israel. That's what it said in Deuteronomy 22. You listening? I know you listening. So let's go over to Deuteronomy 24. It's because, when I said in the lesson is that if your husband doing this, you just got to deal with it. Like, you can't go get a divorce. You can separate if you want to. You know what I mean? Like, you can definitely separate, but far as in you being able to, look here, I'm filing a divorce, like, that is never given into the hand of the woman inside of the Bible. Now, what's going on in the world and the society we live in, women do have that power to do so. But according to what we're going to read and what we read throughout the class is that, that power was never put in the hand of a woman to be able to give her husband a divorce decree. So let's look at this Deuteronomy 24 real quick. Deuteronomy 24, and let's pick it up at verse 1. This wasn't in the lesson, and it really didn't need to be in the lesson because the lesson was really based on marriage. You know what I mean? Like kind of what to expect for in marriage. Not only just marriage, but if you're a young lady that doesn't have a husband, what you should look for in a man. And if a man that don't have a wife, what he should look for in a wife. So that's kind of what, the class was kind of based upon. And like I was saying is that we could deal with the divorce in a whole nother lesson. But let's look at this. Let's look at this Deuteronomy 24 real quick. Deuteronomy 24, and let's pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead and read that.
When a man had taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house.
So he found some uncleanliness in her, right? He can give her a bill of divorcement, right? Keep going. What it say in verse 2 though?
And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife.
So she get out of that man's house, she going to become another man's wife, right? Verse 3.
And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife.
So it ain't no going backwards and forth. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if I don't gave you a bill of divorce, that's it. It ain't no you coming, you leaving, and you coming back. And we going this route because I understand your question, and I'll repeat it for you. Your question is, us being married, why do we got to deal with if the husband is mistreating the wife, but yet the husband can put the wife away? So that was your question, and we're addressing the second half of your question. We're going to get to the first, but we're addressing the second half just to show you that the man was never supposed to divorce the woman. Because we reading this to show you that Jesus is going to come on the scene and clear all of this up right here. All right? So we see is that in verse 4, the former husband, he can't get her back, right? What is saying in verse 5?
When a man hath taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free.
I'm sorry, read verse 4. We stopped at 3, didn't we?
Well, we read part of verse 4.
Read 4 from the top. Go ahead.
Her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is abomination before the Lord. And thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
So you know, hey, you take your wife back that you don't put away. The Bible called that an abomination, right? Let's go to Matthew real quick. Matthew. Matthew chapter 19. Matthew 19. So we saw Moses give a bill of divorcement, right? In Deuteronomy 24. All right, now check this out. Look at what Jesus said pertaining to that. Matthew 19. Pick it up at verse 4. Go ahead.
And he answered and said unto them,
You know what? Start at verse 3.
The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?
You hear that? So, hey, the Pharisees, you know, they trying to tempt Jesus, right? And they're asking a legitimate question, but they already know the answer to the question because they read Deuteronomy 24. So look at what Jesus' response to them was. Because this question that the Pharisees asked is your second part of the question that you just asked. All right? Verse 4, go ahead.
And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female?
So he that made them at the beginning, we read that in class, Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 2. He made them male and female. Go ahead.
And said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife.
Go ahead.
And they shall be one flesh.
So, you know, he's quoting Genesis 2. You know, he took the rib from Adam, made the woman from the rib, brought them together. Adam said, This woman is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of me. Therefore shall a man and a woman leave their father and mother. They shall be cleaved together and become one flesh, right? That's what occurred in Genesis 2. Jesus is quoting Genesis 2, right? So look at what it says in verse 7.
You want 6?
Yeah, read 6. My bad. Go ahead.
Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh.
Y'all keep it down, little ones. Go ahead.
What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
You see that? Jesus said something real major. He said, what God put together, let no man put asunder. He put it together, let no man put asunder. See, this is why we open up. We didn't really open up the class, but we opened up going into the second half of the lesson, dealing with how the man is supposed to be towards the woman, how the woman is supposed to be towards the man. And in Proverbs, I want to say, what was it? Proverbs 18 says, hey, man, whoso find a wife find favor with the Lord. So this is why I can understand why Jesus is saying what he's saying. What God has put together, let no man put asunder. Because you got to realize, hey, God is the one that gave you that wife. You have found favor from him. So now when you try to put it apart, you really trying to dismantle what God has put together. So that's why he said what he said. Hey, let no man put asunder what God has put together, right? What it say in verse 7 now, bro?
They say unto him, Why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away?
See, a legitimate rebuttal. They hit Jesus with a legitimate rebuttal, right? They probably said in their head, look here, we got him. This is why I read what they trying to quote. Deuteronomy 24. That's what they quoting, right? So look at Jesus' response. Go ahead, bro.
He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives.
So this is why we read Deuteronomy 22 in the lesson. Because in Deuteronomy 22, he tried to bring up a false report on the girl. The girl daddy was prepared. Hey, look here, man. We got the token of virginity right here. We got the napkin with the blood on it. You know what I mean? So now, okay, you lied. Therefore, we finna let these elders put these hands on you. And not only that, you got to come up on some more bread. So Moses allowed that to take place because of the hardness of Israel's heart. Israel's heart is still hard right now. Like today. Because Israel's still putting away their wives today. And to showing in the class was really to show that, hey, if you out here putting away your wife, you sinning in the eyes of God, and you subject to going to hell for doing that. Like that was what the class was showing. All right, cool. You want to put your wife away? All right. You want to roll the dice on that? Okay, have at it. You might be walking around here without no father. And what I mean by that is, according to Hebrews chapter 12, it lets you know is that, hey, man, if you ain't got no father spiritually, you a bastard. That means you out here with no hedge. So if you out here thinking that it's cool to be putting your wife away, then you know what? You got to answer to God on that. So even right here, Jesus is letting you know why Moses was allowed to do that, right? So he said, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffer you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. What is it say in verse 9, bro?
And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication.
Look at what Jesus finna say. Hey, if you put your wife away and it ain't for fornication, go ahead.
And shall marry another, committeth adultery.
You see that? Look at what you done did. Hey, if you put your wife away, hey, I'm just hypothetically saying, I put my wife away. Look at what I done committed. Me has committed adultery. You want to know why? Because I don't put my wife in the position of committing adultery. You know what I mean? Because now when I put her away, I'm the adulterer and she's the adulteress. So it says what? And shall marry another, commit adultery, and what else?
And whoso marrieth her which is put away doth commit adultery.
You see that? So, you know, like, Israel ain't supposed to be out here doing this. That's Miss James. That's cool.
She's back.
Yeah,
She's back.
The kid, listen to that.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Hey, so really, you know, the second half can almost answer the first half. But let's go somewhere else real quick. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Because just to already establish that it ain't no putting away. Like Israel, men, wasn't supposed to be putting away back then. Jesus clarified it. He said the reason why Moses did it because your heart was hard. That's the only reason why he gave you the pass. But I'm letting you know, I'm the one who married Adam and Eve. I'm here in the flesh. Letting you know is that, hey, look here. From the beginning, he took you back to Genesis. From the beginning, it was never so. Moses gave you a pass because of the hardness of your heart. But from the beginning, it was never so. So, Israel ain't supposed to be putting away. But look at this 1 Corinthians real quick. 1 Corinthians 7. I think we touched on that in class today too. And, you know, really Paul is just getting at, hey, man, the wife she ain't got that possession. She ain't got that power. You know what I mean? And what I was saying in class is that, hey, you know, the Lord may kill him. Look at Nabal's situation. You know, it's situations that occur out here like that. You know what I mean? It's not just, Nabal and Abigail in the Bible. Nah. Sister up there in Gary, she had a situation like this, and, you know, Brother Elijah said, hey, man, just wait around, man. Let the Lord deal with it. The Lord dealt with it. The Lord killed the brother. Yeah, you got to get on the mic. She new to this.
This anyway. But so basically the answer is just to wait around until the Most High kills the brother.
Well, it just depends on the situation.
That
You know, it just
trying
let's
to compute what you were saying.
Nah, I get you. Like hey, he may want to reconcile. The Lord probably don't scare the heck out of him to the point where he afraid and he want to make a whole change. That may be the case. He may want to come back to you, go back to the drawing board. Look here, you know what? I was wrong. I apologize. Please forgive me. I ain't running that route no more. You know, try to build. You know, it could be that. You know what I mean? So it's not always necessarily mean that, you know, death got to occur. Because that's really, let's go and read that. Romans chapter 7. We're going to come back to 1 Corinthians 7.
Yeah, because
that's really the only thing. And now what we're doing is we answering the first half of your question is that, the only way a woman can leave. The only way a woman can leave, Romans chapter 7 real quick. Romans chapter 7 and go ahead and read verse 1 and 2. Read 1 through 3. Go ahead.
Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law.
You see that? Hey, he talking to them that know the law. He ain't talking to people that don't know no law. You know what I mean? Like let's clarify that, right? Paul is writing to believers. In all his epistles, come on, y'all, let's keep it down, Lewis. In all his epistles, he's writing to believers. All right? So by him writing to believers, he ain't writing to people that's just ignorant to the word. So this is why he clearly is saying what he's saying in verse 1. He said, know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law. What else?
That the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth.
Go ahead.
For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband, so long as he liveth.
You see that? So the woman, hey, she bound to the law. Romans 7. Romans 7 and verse 2. Hey, the woman is bound to the law as long as her husband is alive. Go ahead.
But if the husband be dead, she is loosed from the law of her husband.
You see that? So the only way a woman can be loose from marriage is unless her husband is dead or dies. Verse 3.
So then if, while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress.
You see that? She going to be called an adulteress. Go ahead.
But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man.
Let's go now to 1 Corinthians 7. Because now 1 Corinthians 7, it'll kind of establish a little bit more on the grounds of you can separate. You want to separate, you could do that much. But once you separate, it ain't no you going to get another man. You know what I mean? You just separate and just, hey, be solo for a while. You know what I mean? Getting yourself together, and he might be getting himself together. But from that point, you separating yourself, you never know what the Lord may allow to occur in that period of separation. You know what I mean? So, according to Romans chapter 7, the woman is bound to her husband as long as he's alive. The only way she's loose is unless the husband dies. Now look at this 1 Corinthians 7. 1 Corinthians 7, and let's just jump right into it. Go ahead and pick it up at verse 8. Go ahead.
I say therefore to the unmarried and widows.
You know what? I'm sorry, verse 10.
And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord.
You see that? So Paul letting you know it ain't me saying it. This is the Lord. That what?
Let not the wife depart from her husband.
You see that? Let the wife not depart. The woman can't leave. Hey, It be hard for, it's a tough pill to swallow for sisters. It really is. This is something that sisters really have a hard time swallowing. But that's just the case. Because you got to realize, like, you know, that's just the way God set it up. So we see is that what? And unto the married I say, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband. Verse 11.
But and if she depart,
Go ahead.
let her remain unmarried.
So, you know, he didn't say you can't depart. You could depart. But he's just letting you know is that, look here. If you depart, you better remain unmarried. Or what?
Or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife.
You see that? So even he is addressing the fact that, hey, man, don't put your wife away. So, you know, that's really it, though. I mean, you clear with that, sis? Any comments?
Yeah, I wanted to say something about Matthew.
You got your mic on. Okay.
In Matthew 5, the hardness of your hearts is why he gave them the bill of divorcement. Is that to do with like them treating their wives like garbage because they didn't want them anyway? So he gave them the divorcement so the wives can go and.
Well, no, it wasn't that. Let's go back and read Deuteronomy 24 again, because it wasn't really so much as that. They was treating them like, you know, they want to. Nah, they was trying to come up with. Let's read Deuteronomy 22. They was trying to come up with any little, you know what I mean, trying to get out of. In other words, trying to get out of the marriage.
Right.
So they was trying to find any little cracks to get out of the marriage. Because Deuteronomy 22, that was the example why we looked at that in class. Because in Deuteronomy 22, let's read it. Deuteronomy 22 and 13. Because look, this is going on in Israel. Go ahead.
If any man take a wife.
Hold on, my bad. 13. Go ahead.
If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, and give occasions of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
So he lying.
Yeah, okay.
When we continue to read this, we're going to see is that the father and the mother proved him to be lying. Now he got whooped. In verse 18, it says, the elders of the city shall take that man and chastise him.
Okay.
Because he's bringing up an evil report. Right. So things like that was going about to where, okay, now let's go to Deuteronomy 24. Because now in Deuteronomy 24, look at what verse 1 say. Go ahead.
When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes.
So, you know, he like, man, this ain't really what I thought what it was going to be. So I'm finna come up with something. So now look at what it say. Go ahead.
Because he hath found some uncleanness in her.
So now, he could have very well have found some uncleanliness in her. But it ain't to the level of not saying right here that she committed adultery or she slept with somebody else. You know, like he trying to just finesse the situation. So he like, okay, he found some uncleanliness in her. Go ahead.
Then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house.
So now when we go and read Matthew 18, 19, now Jesus saying, hey, look here. The reason why this Deuteronomy 24, Deuteronomy 22, you know, was all put in play is because your heart was hard. But I'm letting you know, going back to Genesis chapter 2, that stuff was never so. Because when you and a woman become, y'all are two, when y'all twain, y'all now become one. You know what I mean? So, like, in other words, what Jesus said, it usurped what Moses was doing. Because, like, Moses was doing it, because you got to realize Moses dealing with a lot of people. Yeah. And they like, Moses at one time was like, man, these people going to kill me. You know what I mean? So he given a divorce decree because their hearts was hardened. You know? So,
Yeah, I'm good.
yeah, you good?
I just thought I had read somewhere else it was because the men were treating their wives bad. That's why he gave them divorcement.
Nah.
No.
I mean, that would be the hardness of their heart.
It could very well be.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, I think I read somewhere like that. Not in the Gospels, but, how Israel was mistreating their wives.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like Jesus said, man, for the hardness of your hearts. So, all right, so we open the floor back up for questions. Okay. Green. My batteries might be dead. Hey, you had 2 fingers on it, that's why.
My question is regarding the vows. So when I said my marriage vows, I was speaking them to my husband, but I was also vowing that before God.
Yeah.
So, and the consequences of breaking a vow would fall into place for a woman that would leave. So, that's it.
Oh, you kind of answered your question on
Yeah,
your
I
own.
mean, the vow, I understand the marriage ceremony, but I never looked at it that way. Like, you vowed this unto God, not just physical
Right.
spouse. Right.
Right.
So that just intensifies.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I never really looked at it that way.
Oh, okay. Praise God.
You know, it's crazy because at the time, your man, he didn't object to your vow. So you gotta.
Hold on. Say that again.
That's a good point.
Your husband can overstep your vow.
Well, at that point.
Well. In that case, we not talking about a marriage vow. Like when you go and look at that Numbers chapter 3, that was just showing how like God gave the man power over the house. You know what I mean? To the point where he can disallow your vow. Now, okay, the daughter in the house with her father, and something like that occurred, I'm gonna go off and marry this dude. No, you're not. The father can do that. You're not going anywhere. Like, no. So in that sense, yes. But far as in like when it comes to the husband and the wife is vowing and the husband want to not take her vow, nah, that's not. Nah, because that's the significance of the marriage with the vows. Is the fact that y'all are making, because again, I can't vow a vow to marry my wife unless she agree. So they gotta agree. You know what I mean? Yeah, they gotta agree. Like, you know what? What you about to say? I was finna go read somewhere. It was somewhere in the Bible where it was showing how a woman. No, you go ahead.
My question is, if a man proposes to you and you say yes, have you then entered into a covenant and technically married? So
Based
like,
on what?
If he get on one knee and say, "Will you marry me?" and I say yes, is that then considered I'm entering into an agreement, and now that
Yeah.
we're spiritually married?
Yeah, you enter into an agreement. Y'all,
So there's really no engagement process.
well, that's the whole process of you know, you getting to know each other. Like you courting, because courting, when you look at the definition of it, it is really a person you intend to get married to. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't just, now, of course, you know, you talking to individuals, you getting to know who they are, you knowing if this is the right person. Like, that's just you getting to know one another or courting. But now when he proposes and you agree with him, that's what we was reading as far as in like covenants. That's why, let's go and read Ecclesiastes again. Ecclesiastes chapter 5. It's just that severe. Like, it really is. Like, you just took it all the way, and it's severe. Okay, he get down on one knee and he say this, and, you know, I agree. Are we married? And yes, like, y'all, I mean, that's why, look at this Ecclesiastes, though. This is why we read Ecclesiastes 5. Check this out. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, and let's read it. Let's take our time with it. Go ahead, verse 1. Oh, my bad. 5. Go ahead, bro. Ecclesiastes 5 and verse 1.
Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear.
See, look, when you going into the house of God, right, automatically you thinking, hey, man, I need to give a sacrifice, or I need to bring a gift. I'm in the house of God. But Solomon is saying, hey, you know what? Hey, he said, be more ready to hear than to what?
Than to give the sacrifices of fools.
Go ahead.
For they consider not that they do evil.
You see that? So they really not even considering what they doing. Now look at how he tied this into vows. Verse 2.
Be not rash with thy mouth.
You see that? So now he's going to tell you, know what? Hey, man, don't be so quick to utter something. So he said, be not rash with thy mouth, but what?
And let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God.
So don't be so quick. You know, hey, y'all know what y'all getting yourself into, especially if y'all sitting in here together. Y'all know what y'all getting yourself into. You know what? You better tell them, hey, let me think about this. You know what I mean? Like, give me a little bit of time. Let's talk it out. Like, let's, you know, walk around the block a few times. You know, give me a minute, because we finna go into something real deep. Especially, again, if y'all know this, y'all finna go into something real deep. So he said, be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thy heart be hasty to utter anything before God. Go ahead.
For God is in heaven.
You see that? God in heaven. Go ahead.
And thou upon earth.
Go ahead.
Therefore, let thy words be few.
So in other words, man, pay attention to what's coming out of your mouth. Let your words be few. Go ahead.
For a dream cometh through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by multitude of words.
You see that? Look at what he said. A fool's voice is known by a multitude of words. Just letting you know is that, hey, a fool is what utter words in haste. You know what I mean? He's the one that's she's the one that's so quick to just utter something and not consider. So he said, a fool's voice is known by the multitude of words. What is it in verse 4?
When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools.
You see that? Hey, he ain't got no pleasure in fools. You better pay up. Go ahead.
Pay that which thou owest, or hast vowed.
Go ahead.
Better is it that thou shouldest not vow, than thou shouldest vow and not pay.
And not pay. Go ahead.
Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin.
You see what your mouth getting you into? Your mouth writing a check you can't cash. So he letting you know, hey, man, don't suffer your mouth to cause your flesh to sin. Go ahead, bro.
Neither say thou before the angel that it was an error.
You see that? So don't be talking about, man, I ain't thinking about what I was doing. You know what I mean? I bet I had too much cocktails in me. You know what I mean? Hey, he caught me on, you know, nah, You better, hey, if you on some cocktails, you better sober up. Hey, let me get back with you in the morning. You know what I mean? Because the Bible's saying, hey, don't be talking about it was an error. Go ahead.
Wherefore should God be angry at thy voice and destroy the work of thine hands?
You see that? The Lord going to be angry at your voice. You want to know why he angry at your voice? Because it's them words that you vowed. So now he going to be angry at the fact that you just vowed the vow unto him. Now he going to destroy the works of your hand. Let's go to Judges real quick. Let's read an example of that. Judges on... Yeah, this serious business, man. That's why cats don't be, they be taking it lightly because they don't understand it. You know what I mean? Like, Israel be tripping, for real. So it's like if they knew what they was getting themselves into, they'll think different. Go to Judges 11. You already there? Judges chapter 11. Go ahead and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of an harlot, and Gilead begot Jephthah.
Go ahead.
And Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his wife's sons grew up, and they thrust out Jephthah, and said unto him, Thou shalt not inherit in our father's house.
So they're like, man, you ain't gonna inherit in our father's house because your mama, you was born from a harlot, right? So skip down to verse 9. Go ahead and read that.
And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, If ye bring me home again to fight against the children of Ammon, and the Lord deliver them before me, shall I be your head? And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, The Lord be witness between us, if we do not so according to thy words. Then Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and captain over them. And Jephthah uttered all his words before the Lord in Mizpah.
Now skip down to 30. We ain't going to read all that. Skip down to 30 and let's get right to it. Go ahead.
And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord.
Now Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord. Go ahead.
And said, If thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering.
Go ahead.
So Jephthah passed over into the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hands.
So you see, the Lord delivered. The Lord did what he said he gonna do. He vowed the vow. Hey, look here, Lord, if you deliver the children of Ammon into my hand, whatever greet me at the door, I'm gonna give unto you. Lord, like, all right, bet, got you. Deliver them into his hand, right? Go ahead, bro.
And he smote them from Aor, even till thou came to Minnith, even 20 cities, and unto the plain of the vineyards, with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel.
34.
And Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house, and behold, his daughter came unto meet him with timbrels and with dances.
Look who met him at the door. You see who met him at the door? His daughter met him at the door in timbrels. So he came home from war, and his daughter met him in timbrels. Look at what he said. Go ahead.
And she was his only child.
This was his only child. Go ahead.
Beside her, he had neither son nor daughter.
So this was his only child, right? 35.
And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, thou hast brought me very low, and thou art one of them that trouble me. For I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back.
You see that? I opened my mouth to the Lord. I can't go back. Hey, he get down on one knee. Shoot. You better be thinking. Because it's serious. Like, it's just that shit. That's why we went through. But even in this case right here, man, he vowed his vow to the Lord. He had to give up his own. He had to kill his only daughter. Like, you go back and read the rest of that, but he had the actual offer up his only daughter. He went through with the vow. So even in the lesson, we looked at betrothed. We looked at espousals. You know what I mean? Like we looked at Joseph was espoused to Mary before they came together, meaning they had agreed or they made a covenant. That's what a proposal is. Y'all have agreed to be husband and wife. Something that may seem so light is very serious. So this is why you want to consider what you're doing. That's why we read Ecclesiastes 5. You know what I mean? Don't be so haste. Don't be so quick to be like, I'm all in. Because 3 months down the line, you want to reconsider. Ain't no reconsidering when you don't make that jump. Nah, ain't no reconsider unless you want to deal with the consequences. Unless you want to roll the dice and see, you know, what. Yeah, unless you want to take them kind of chances, but I don't think it's worth it. You good with? Oh, okay. Nah, I don't even know what's online, but what you say you got to add on to this?
Really is a lot to consider, like a lot, right? Just being single. So, so I was thinking, like, what if, like, you don't, like, okay, he proposed and y'all agree, but as a woman, like, what if you just don't want to have sex until you have, like, the ceremony?
That's what you want to do anyways.
Okay, so that would be okay. But what if, like, I have a brother of Israel telling me, oh, well, it's not official until I have sex with him?
You better read this to him. That's why we went to the lesson. You ain't got to do all that. But exactly. Like, that's what Jacob did. That's what the Bible is showing you. Is that because, hey, what if you go and jump into bed with you and then he don't want you no more? You know what I mean? He got you for your goods. Now he, you know.
Before the proposal, though, because after the if you propose and you say yes, then you technically married. Then
right, true indeed. But what you want to do is you want to take them all the way there, cause you got Jakes you got Israelites who be tripping. You want to take them all the way there. Meaning, like, you want to go ahead and because first of all, sis, you want to know who you're dealing with, right? So if you know who you're dealing with, and they dealing according to the Bible, they ain't gonna hit you with, well, I ain't really with that. Waiting until we need to do this first, and then we'll get to. That right there is already telling you something about the individual. You know what I mean? Like, if he running that route, that might not be the one you want to so much settle down with. Or you might want to continue to get to know who he is. But you got to realize, like, the process doesn't complete it once you hit the bedroom. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the honeymoon. The process has already been established between the two of you guys when y'all make this agreement. You know what I mean? Y'all go before the people of the church. We witnessing it. The angels in heaven witnessing it. Like, you ain't even really got to go before the people in church. Me and my wife, we didn't. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, like, you want to roll that route, then that be the last thing. Because if you dealing with a brother that's a man of God, he ain't going to have no problem with going that route because this is what we can read. You know what I mean? This is what we could read. But, hey, like we read in the lesson in Deuteronomy 22 is that, hey, if you with somebody and y'all already land with each other, hey, go get married. Yeah, go get married or cut that off and ask for mercy. You know what I mean? Ask for mercy. If that ain't the one, cut it off and ask for mercy and don't let it happen again. But if you feel like that's the one, Go ahead and tie it on up. Yeah. Yep. Yep. You good with that? You got a comment to that? So, yes, it is. I got one on YouTube. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's the one who was just here? Oh, that laser? Liza? Shiza? I'm trying to slide over something. My bad. Uh-oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm out of the camera a little bit. That's why I'm sliding on. My bad.
Is that enough?
Yeah, that's good. All right. Is a vow something that you just say like, okay. So, a vow. So you got to realize, like, if, let's go and read Jesus again, Matthew 5. Yeah, don't do that, Deanna. Like, for real, he got sippy cups for reasons. Yeah. So you got to realize, like, man, if you're going to do something, do it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be so extreme to you making a vow. Because a vow is serious business. But if you're going to say you're going to cook something, then cook it. If you ain't going to cook it, okay. But if you say to yourself, hey, you know, I might cook a pot roast. And then 6, 7 o'clock, get around, you tired and you don't cook it, then you don't cook it. But when we talking about vows, we talking about you are making a covenant to do something before God. It gets real serious. You know what I mean? Like you like, shoot, I said, you know, plenty of times what I'm gonna do when I get home. I think it's been a few Sundays that I was supposed to weed my ditch. And I didn't do it. You know, I was tired after Sunday. I was always either gone somewhere or something came up. So I think before the Sabbath, last Sabbath before sun got down, I got home at a good time, and I just went out there before sun went down. I just weeded the ditch real quick. But I didn't vow. I didn't say, hey, God, you know what? I'm coming before you. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z because, like, nah, I didn't do that. You know, so look at this Matthew chapter 5 real quick. Let's read that again. Because a vow is, in the Bible, you know, you take vows in marriages. So when you take a marriage vow, oh, you going before God with that. That's big business. But if I'm telling one of my homeboys, man, I'm going to do this weekend, like, nah. I told these brothers last Sunday that I was going to do something in my house for the Super Bowl. Then I hit them back. Nah, man, I ain't doing that. Like, I'm going to chill out. And that was that. You know what I mean? But, like, was I lying? Nah. Some just came up. So you got to realize, like, the class today was about, you know, marriage. You know, if you already married or if you considering to be married, these are the things you want to truly consider. When you enter into a marriage, it's no backing out. And then not only that, you gotta hold these brothers to that type of standard. But look at what Jesus said, Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5, and let's read it again. Let's read one verse. You know what? Read all of it. 33. Matthew 5 and 33. 33 through 37. Go ahead.
Again, ye have heard that it hath been said of them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths.
You see that? Hey, you ain't gonna, it says, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shall perform unto the Lord thy oaths. Look at what Jesus is talking about. You're going to perform to the Lord your oaths. You see that? Like, he ain't saying you're going to perform to Xfinity your oaths. Because there's been plenty of times I told Xfinity, hey, look, I ain't got it this week. The bill was due. Hey, I ain't got it. Okay, you want to set up a payment plan? Yeah, I will. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't got it. I'm not going into a vow with them. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus said, if you make an oath unto the Lord, because it's real serious. Look at what it say, verse 34.
But I say unto you, swear not at all.
So don't be talking, boy, I swear to God or on God. Like, don't do all of that. Like, you doing too much. You doing too much. So he letting you know, but I say unto you, swear not at all. So don't be swearing. Don't even be promising people. I can't stand when people say, I promise. Nah, I tell them quick. Man, just don't say promise. Just say, I'm going to try to. Because now you're going back on your promise because something came up. So again, hey, he's saying, swear not at all, neither by what?
Neither by heaven, for it is God's throne.
Go ahead.
Nor by earth, for it is his footstool. Neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king.
Go ahead.
Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black.
You see that? So let me talk about, man, on my life. Like, for real, dude. Like, people be doing that. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Because you can't make, if your hair black, you can't make now one piece of your hair turn gray. You can't do that. So for you to be talking about on your life, you don't even control your life. God control your life. So how are you to say, on my life? Nah, don't do that. Real simple. What is it in verse 37?
But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay.
Go ahead.
For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil.
You see that? So, hey, if it's something more than this, real simple. Yeah, yeah, nay, nay. Hey, if it's something more than that, look at what you're doing. You embarking upon evil. That's what you're doing. So just, you know, I mean, keep it simple, man. Like a vow, according to the Bible, you are making an oath unto God in most instances. According to the class today, we were showing is that when you get married, you make a vow or a covenant or an oath to another man before God. And that is very serious. If you decide to not do laundry after the Sabbath, that ain't serious. You just ain't gonna have no clean clothes. That's it. But you ain't making a vow. Something probably just came up. So that's really what a vow is, sis. You know what I mean? A vow is just something, you know, that God takes very serious. You know, versus on, you know, you're not able to fulfill a duty. Yep. Any comments to that? No comments? All right. Any questions? And we're gonna take some instructions on that too. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
What might one vow? Like, how do you? What might one vow? Like, do you just start spitting off random vows? Like, I know that they're very serious, but like for instance, I do know one vow that my husband ever made, but for me, I don't recall ever making a vow besides to him. What might you vow about?
I made a vow. I made a vow not to smoke marijuana anymore.
Right.
So that was probably about 6-7 years ago.
And then I do know one
And
other
it-
vow that somebody was open about
Yeah, like
drinking.
right, exactly.
But other than that, I mean, is it just something that maybe majorly convicts you or something? I don't know.
It may convict someone and it may take them into another person. Yeah, it might hinder you, or you might not be. You could probably be going into the stage of being an alcoholic, or you could probably go into the stage of making marijuana your god. Who knows? But you ain't got no limitations to it. So now you got to put some limitations on it, and you get serious with it. So you know what? I'm going to have a drink this time of the day, one time a week. As for me, I just said, I'm done. And I vowed it. And I remembered I vowed it. I don't have brothers try to talk me off the vow. I'm like, bro, I'm straight. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good. Like, so, you know, it's sometimes it could be on, in some cases, you know, what I know for my experience and another brother's experience, something that they was dealing with and how it was making them become. You know, how the marijuana was making, I was probably about a couple of ounces from being a pothead when dealing with the word. So I would think that it was cool to like get high and study. I didn't smoke on the Sabbath now. That's something that I never did. You know what I mean? But I would still think that it'll just be cool to be high and try to study and, you know, to the point where I was at trap houses, like, yeah, it was, and I was supposed to be representing the Lord. So that's why I just said, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. But it's really like a type of restraint. You know, sometimes you need more than just I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Some individuals need more than just that. So you gotta talk on the mic.
So like, Veggie backing off of Kayla. So like, she was like, "What constitutes a vow?" What did you say?
Go ahead. Go ask one.
What you a vow to,
That's
right?
Deja.
Like, what if it's something that you want God to like stop? Okay, so somebody on their deathbed, you don't want them to die, and you just like, God, if you let them leave, I promise you I would dot 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 dot. Does that constitute?
Yeah, that's some serious stuff right there. Yeah, that's because we just read in Matthew 5. We just read in Matthew 5. Don't be, you know what I mean? Like don't swear by heaven or by earth. You know what Yeah. Right, okay, I got you. So yeah, that's some serious stuff. You know what I mean? Because you know you can't turn one hair in your head black or white. So like, but yeah, still. Yeah, it's but you got to realize, like, you know, in our cases, God ain't gonna always do it. You know what I mean? Because it might not be His will. You know what I mean? Like the person on the deathbed, it might just be his time or her time. So you crying and praying, and that ain't gonna even probably change anything. You know, it's just like that with God. So, you know, really, that's why, you know, I'll continue to quote it in that Ecclesiastes, man. It's really just on to like, yeah, that's her phone. Yeah, to just really be few in words. Like, don't be too quick to utter your words. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that you really got to be aware of. And you know, I mean, it's just something that you got to be mindful of. That's really it.
Okay, I got a question.
Any other questions?
I do. So when Jesus was washing the disciples' feet, like I wanted to know, like, what does it symbolize? Like I feel like I already got like an idea of what it symbolizes when I read it, but I just want to hear like a second part. And is it okay for, like, if somebody wanted to wash somebody else's feet, like today, like if somebody say, like, if you wanted to do it, like, would that be okay to do?
Okay, that's a good question. Let's go to it. Let's go to I think it's in John. Hold on. Yeah, John 13. John 13. And let's go and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
There were present at
John
that
13,
seat.
verse 1.
Oops, sorry.
It's all good.
Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own, which were in the world, he loved them unto the end.
Mm-hmm.
And supper being ended, the devil having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he was come from God and went to God, he riseth from supper and laid aside his
Hey, y'all
garments.
keep it down, little ones. Everybody keep it down, please. Where you at, verse 4?
Yeah, just
Go ahead.
and took a towel and girded himself, and after that he poureth water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded.
Mm-hmm.
Then cometh to him Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, doest thou wash my feet?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus answered and said unto him, What I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter.
Go ahead.
Peter saith unto him, Thou shalt never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, If I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me.
Go ahead.
Simon Peter saith unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head.
Keep reading.
Jesus saith unto him, He that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit, and ye are clean, but not all.
Go ahead.
For he knew who should betray him, therefore said he, ye are not all clean.
You see that? So, you know, he kind of pointing at really Judas. That's kind of like, what he's showing. Also, he's showing in a sense about, how a servant is no greater than his Lord. So it's like, a sense of humility. But in this sense right here, he really drawing out Judas. And he kind of letting you know, y'all got to keep it down, please. And he kind of letting them know, like in verse 10, he said, Jesus said unto him, he that is washed need not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not all. Not all of y'all ain't clean. For he knew who would betray him. Therefore said he, ye are not all clean. So in this sense, right, he just really, kind of touching on, we got somebody amongst us that ain't really with us. You know what I mean? So, that's kind of what he was showing in that sense. But and really, let's go somewhere else real quick. Let's look at it in another location as well. Go to Matthew 26. Matthew 26, yep. Matthew 26, and let's pick it up at pick it up at 17.
Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? Mm-hmm. And he said, go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, the master saith, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with thy disciples.
Well, hold on. Read 14 and then skip back down to 19. Go ahead.
Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and
15 too. Go
and
ahead.
said unto them, what will ye give me, and I will deliver him unto you?
Go ahead.
And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver.
So they covenanted for 30 pieces of silver. Now skip down and read. Finish up 18. Go ahead.
And he said, go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, the master saith, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples.
Go ahead.
And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now when the even was come, he sat down with the 12, and as they did eat, he said, verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me.
You see that? So he's talking about somebody going to betray him. Go ahead.
And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered and said, he that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me.
You see that? So he said, hey man, the same one who really got his hand in the cookie jar, he gonna betray me. He got his hand in here with me. He gonna betray me, but he ain't really like name checking. He just, kind of subliminally doing it. All right, keep going though.
23. And he answered and said, 24. The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man that he had not been born.
You see that? So he like, hey man, the one that's gonna betray me, in so many words, he really going to hell. Because it was better for him not to even been born. Keep reading, bro.
Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto him, thou hast said.
Thou said it. You know what I mean? He like, hey, you said it. But he still like saying it to him in a indirect manner. You know what I mean? It ain't like he just right at the gate, yeah, Judas, it's really you. Like, stop playing. Like, he ain't hit him with that. He's still kind of like being subliminal, being indirect. So it's like now we're going to look at John 13. He even give you like a little parable behind it about, you know, your feet being washed. It's like, look here, man, everybody ain't really clean that's with us. You know what I mean? He kind of like hinting them on. But keep going, though. What else? Where you at?
26.
Go ahead.
And as they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, "Drink ye all of it. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." And when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then saith Jesus unto them, "All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad."
Go to hold on. Go to Luke 22 real quick. Luke 22. Luke 22 and go ahead and pick it up at 24, because this kind of what is this kind of what it's touching on as well too. You know, far as in, you know, it being a sign or a sense of humility as well. You know, because I mean, you washing somebody else's feet. That's a humbling experience. But do we necessarily have to be doing it today? Nah, we don't. Because, like, look at it. Luke 22. And go ahead and pick it up at 24.
And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. And he said unto them, The kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them.
So, you know, they talking about, man, who's going to be the greatest? But we know that Gentiles, man, they be on stuff like this, you know, with lordship and, you know, having kings set up over them and things to that effect. That's kind of what he hit them with. He said Gentiles exercise lordship over them. But what else to say?
And they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors.
You know, they called benefactors, right? 26.
But ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger.
You see that? So, hey, the one that's greatest among you, he going to be like the younger. Go ahead.
And he that is chief as he that doth serve. For whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat or he that serveth?
You see that? So, hey, which one is greater? He that sit at meat or the one that serve? Real good question. Go ahead.
Is not he that sitteth at meat, but I am among you as he that serveth.
Go ahead.
Ye are they which have continued with me.
That's it on that. So you know, really, you know, it's like he said, you know, of course we would say that the one that's being served is greater, right? Or the one that's sitting at meat is greater. But Jesus letting you know is that, hey, man, look here. Me being who I am, I'm sitting at the table serving. So in other words, man, like he said in other places, the first is going to be the last and the last is going to be the first. You know, really just, you know, humbling yourself, or in other words, abasing yourself. So when it comes with washing your feet, he was really just, you know, sniffing out Judas indirectly. But at the same time, it's a sign of humility. It's a sign of humility. So, we wouldn't have to do it today. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, we that's not necessary. You should already know how to be exercised in humility, and that's what Jesus was doing amongst his disciples. He wasn't doing that on a public scale. You know what I mean? He was doing it kind of like how Jesus said, when you pray, don't be on the corner sounding the horn and this and that, for you want to be seen of men. Well, even when he was doing that, like, he was private with that. You know what I mean? So he never commanded us to, really do it today. But hey, it's not really necessary. Nah. Comment to that? I said, any comments to that? We got a question online that went. We got something on Facebook. I see what we got on YouTube. We got anything on Facebook? You said no? All right. According to the Bible, what is demon possessions? Is it the mind state, behavior? How would we recognize it today? Okay. It could be all of that. You know what I mean? It could be a mind state. It could be your behavior. You ain't even gotta really. So you gotta realize, man, a demon ain't nothing but the devil, man. That's really it. Like, it ain't no movie that Exorcist. It ain't no whatever that the Exorcist don't show us on TV. Like, it's something, it's something so simple as the devil. That's really it. Let's go to Kings real quick. Let's go to 2 Kings. It might be 1 Kings. That's really it, man. Like, don't think it's something that, because you got to realize we be having a devil on us. When we start acting contrary to God's ways. So you think you need to be spitting and foaming out the mouth? Now we can go and see that too now. That's why I said it's all of that. But when we say demon, we make it seem as if like demon is like so like beyond what the devil is. Nah, that's just what a demon is. It's the devil. So, let's keep it as that. Right? But look at this over here in Kings. Hold on. First Kings 22. 1 Kings 22. Check this out. We ain't going to read all of it, right? But 1 Kings 22, hold on, I'll tell you. I don't know right now yet, but we ain't going to read all of this, but just to give you the backsplash, it's about Ahab. Ahab want to go up to Ramoth Gilead and take over. The Lord already done sent them a prophet telling them, or better yet, Jehoshaphat already like, hey, look here, man. Let's go find another prophet, because Ahab got 400 and some prophets that's going to tell him exactly what he want to hear. Jehoshaphat was like, hey, look here, man. Hey, we need somebody here other than your prophets, man. We need somebody to else inquire of, do we need to go? Let's read it. We ain't got nothing but time. 1 Kings 22. Go ahead and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
And they continued 3 years without war between Syria and Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel.
Go ahead.
And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know ye that Ramoth in Gilead is ours, and we be and we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Syria? And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Wilt thou go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as thou art, my people as thy people, my horses as thy horses.
So, you know, hey, the king of Israel is Ahab. You know, I think in Chronicles it'll tell you who it is. But he like, hey, look at Jehoshaphat, man. All my stuff is your stuff, man. What is it in verse 5?
And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of the Lord today.
You see that? So, hey, man, go and inquire of the Lord. Verse 6.
Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men.
So he got 400 men with him. You know, Ahab 400 deep with prophets. You know what they're going to say because he the king of Israel. Go ahead.
And said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of
You
the
see
king.
that? So he's like, man, go ahead and go on up. Verse 7.
And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides, that we might inquire of him?
You see that? So, hey, Jehoshaphat got some sense.
Something fishy.
He like, man, something up, for real. Skip down and read verse 8.
And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, Micaiah the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of the Lord. But I hate him.
I hate him. Why he hate him? Go ahead.
For he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so.
So, you know, hey, Micaiah, shoot, he telling the truth. Because Ahab was a wicked king. So Ahab going to tell the truth. And like like Ahab said, hey, man, I hate him. Because he don't do nothing but prophesy nothing by evil of me. Skip down and read 13.
And the messenger that was gone to call Micaiah spake unto him, saying, Behold, now the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth. Let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is good.
You see that? They trying to bribe him up to be like, hey, man, let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one mouth of them, and speak that which is good. So they trying to get him to say, you know, go ahead and agree with my 400 prophets. 14.
And Micaiah said, As the Lord liveth, what the Lord saith unto me, that will I speak.
So I'm going to speak what the Lord tell me to speak. 15.
So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear?
Go ahead.
And he answered him, Go and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king.
So the Lord going to deliver him. Go ahead and go up. You know, keep reading.
And the king said unto him, How many times shall I adjure thee, that thou tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of the Lord?
Go ahead.
And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills, as sheep that have no shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master, let them return every man to his house in peace.
Go ahead.
And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil?
You see that? So he like, man, hey, he ain't going to say nothing good but evil, right? Skip down to 20 and read that now.
And the Lord said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead?
So now we touching on your question more now, Jay. Because now the Lord don't say who going to persuade Ahab, right? Go ahead.
And one said on this manner, and another said after that manner. And there came forth a spirit,
And there came forth a spirit, go ahead.
and stood before the Lord, and said, I will persuade him.
Now look at how the Lord asked the spirit, how you going to persuade him? Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets.
There go your demon. Like, that's your demon right there. He a lying spirit. So he going to be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And what else?
And he said, Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also.
Go ahead.
Go forth, and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil concerning thee.
So the Lord put a lying spirit in all the... Hey, girl, stay from by the stand. The Lord don't put a lying spirit in the mouth of all of Ahab's prophets, right? But that's the demon, though, because it's a spirit that's contrary to the Holy Spirits of God. So how was it? He just, he got these people to convince Ahab to go up and battle. Ahab was convinced of his own prophets. Hey, you know what? Go ahead and go on up and battle. Go ahead and do it. He already just got word from Micaiah saying, hey, look here, man, you're going to get killed if you go up there. Something would have told him, hey, you know what? I ain't listening to these 400 prophets. But he went with the 400. Why? Because a lying spirit was put in their mouth. A lying spirit was put in the mouth of all his prophets. Let's go over now to Matthew real quick. Matthew Matthew 17. So we the reason why we read that Kings is because when we be out here lying, we got a lying spirit in our mouth. You got a demon in your mouth, or you possessed by a demon. Like, it's nothing, like what we see on the exorcism with the Catholic Church. They put water on you and you start foaming out the mouth. Nah, man, it's really you just doing contrary to God. So if you doing contrary to God when you know, you got a spirit on you. Now, if we talk about, people who you might see in my neighborhood who got an addiction, yeah, they got a demon on them too. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they got an addiction on them. I mean, they got a demon on them. It's an addiction. You know what I mean? So they dealing with demons as well, and you see it through their actions. You see it with how they act out. You know what I mean? From the addiction that they on. So yeah, you can identify it, with individuals by looking at their behavior. But again, let's look at the fact that a demon ain't nothing but the devil. So let's not make the demon as if like it's something different from the devil. That's really what it is. So Ahab had a lying spirit put in the mouth of all his prophets. That's the demon. It's a lying spirit, right? So now let's go and look at Matthew 17. Matthew 17, because in Matthew 17, we're going to even see, I think this is the chapter where we even going to see a little bit of someone's actions and how they going about. Matthew 17, let's look at, pick it up at 17. Pick it up at 18. Go ahead.
And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Jesus apart.
No, hold on. Pick it up at Pick it up at 15. Go ahead.
Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and sore vexed. For oftentimes he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water.
So you see that? Hey, you see it in his actions. You see it as that, in his actions, man. Look at what the book say. He falling into the, it say he falling into the fire, and oftentimes he fall into the water, right? The Bible says, for he is a lunatic, right? He vexed. What it says in 16, though?
And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him.
You see that? So I brought him to the disciples, but they couldn't cure him, right? 17.
Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you?
So, you seeing his behavior. His behavior is what? He oftentimes fall in the fire. he oftentimes fall in the water. You know what I mean? Like he dealing with situations, right? So Jesus, you know, the dude said, hey, look here, I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't cure him. Now Jesus said, oh, faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? Go ahead.
How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Jesus rebuked the devil.
You see that? Look at who Jesus rebuked. He rebuked the devil. It wasn't a demon. It was the devil, but a demon is nothing but the devil. That's really it. So it says he rebuked the devil, and what else?
And he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour.
You see that? The child was cured from that very hour. So, you know, you can see it in people, how they act. You can see it real simple in people who be out here lying when they calling themselves dealing with the word. They be having a devil on them when they start dealing contrary to the word. Like, for real. You know, when they want to do things that they know is contrary to God, man, that's the spirit of a devil, man. Because God, holy angels, we dealt with that last Sabbath. They're going to lead you and guide you into all truth. But when you start going to the left or to the right away from the Lord, man, you possessed or you being led by a devil. That's really it. It's really that basic. Let's go to Revelation real quick. Even in Revelations, they call something else. Look at this. Check this out. Call them birds. Revelation 13.
Birds?
Yeah, call them. Revelation 13.
Oh, 13.
Hold on. Not Revelation 13, Revelation 18. Revelation 18. Go and pick it up at verse 1.
And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was
Y'all
lightened.
got to keep it down. Keep it down. Let's keep it down now. Go ahead.
And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory.
Go ahead.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen,
It's fallen. Go ahead.
and is become the habitation of devils.
Hold on. We talking about Rome. It's fallen. It's over with. And look at what it's inhabited with. Devils. Now we talking about the devil himself. Now we talking about his spirit on people. So you starting to see all kind of wickedness going about, right? So it says, look at what it called. It says devils and what else?
And the hold of every foul spirit.
Every foul spirit. What else?
And a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
You see that the Bible called the devils birds. You know what I mean? Because a seraphim is an angel. They look like birds. But even the Bible is letting you know is that, you know, man, I mean, Babylon going to be inhabited by all foul spirits, man. What it say in verse 3, bro?
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
You see that? Because they got this spirit on them. They got this demon, or they possessed with this devil. That's what they possessed with. So it says what? It says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of the fornication, and what else?
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Go ahead.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached into heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities.
That's it on that. So, you know, you got to realize, man, the devil is out here like a roaring lion seeking who he going to devour. So if he devouring you, just look at your actions. You know what I mean? Like, look at your behavior. Line it up with the Bible. If your behavior is contrary, hey, what spirit are you dealing with? That's what you should ask yourself. You know, if you line your behavior with the word of God, then you know, hey, You dealing with the Spirit of God. So that's really it. Any comments? Huh? You got a comment to that? Okay, go ahead.
Everything, because you said anything that's going contrary against God is like really of the devil. So like even in
Hold
your
on. All right, say it again.
because you said anything that's contrary against God or His word is like basically of the devil.
Yeah.
So like even in your lesson dealing with marriage, the husband or the wife is doing things contrary against God, that means they have a devil on them.
They not operating of God. Like, you got to realize, man, that stuff come quick, man. Go over here real quick to go to Ephesians. It come quick. You know what I mean? It come quick. And if you ain't, Ephesians chapter 5, like, this is why you got to realize, man, like, you really one step away from being back out into the world. Like, you just that close. So you got to realize, like, your everyday reactions or your everyday actions, man, you could blank out right back into that old you. So it's always a constant struggle trying to keep this individual under being subjected unto God. Because you got to realize, when you kill off this old man or this old woman, like, it's still here present. It ain't like, oh, it's gone, and when you killed it, that was buried away. Nah, yeah, you working on being better every day. So it's always present. That's why the devil, he always present. So look at this right here. Look at this Ephesians 6. Ephesians 6, and it might not be Ephesians 6. It might be Ephesians 5. No, it's Ephesians 6. Ephesians 6, and pick it up at pick it up at 10. Go ahead.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Go ahead.
Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
You see that? Look who you standing against. Like, if you ain't operating in godliness, like, that old man or that old woman can be back on the scene just like that. The Bible say that we was the children of wrath. So by you being the child of wrath, man, you the child of the devil. So it pops up just like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's all it takes. Somebody to cut you off at a stoplight or intersection. You know what I mean? Now you cussing and carrying on because you can't believe they cut you off and they were so close to hitting your car. Now you in the car like going in. I was in the car with somebody who did that one. I was like, hey, man, you think they heard you? Because I was like, it really wasn't necessary for all of that. But that's just that old man or that old woman coming back out. So even right here, Paul is letting you know, put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Verse 12.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
So we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Go ahead.
But against principalities.
Go ahead.
Against powers. Against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
You see that? Look who you wrestling against. Yeah, so they always at you. Like, for real, as soon as you leave here, they always at you. And I was talking to a brother the other day. I was like, look here, bro. Like, you got to realize, you call yourself a servant of God. So by you calling yourself a servant of God, man, you got a bullseye on your back. And the bullseye on your back is he served the Most High God. So you know how many angels that came from heaven? A third of an innumerable. I don't even know how many that is. But guess what they're trying to do? They're trying to get you to curse God to his face. So even in your actions, even in how you walking, even in how you talking, even in how you dealing with people, Because when people looking at you, they supposed to see God in you. That's why Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is not of observation, it's within inside of you. So are we talking about the kingdom really inside of you? No, we talking about your behavior, your mindset, the way you handling yourself while dealing with this word. So you could blank back out. I don't know if anybody ever seen Ringo. Anybody ever seen that show? Ringo, the little lizard in the little cowboy town. And he had the little girlfriend lizard, and she'll just be talking to him all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere she'll just she had to sleep. I think she was narcoleptic or whatever it was, but she'll just go to sleep for about 5 or 10 seconds, and then she'll come back and try to pick up on the conversation, but did I do it again? That's really how we be. You know what I mean? Like, we zone out. When we go in on somebody, or we thinking wickedness, or when we literally try to flirt with the devil, like, we really got a spirit on us. And it don't always necessarily, you can rebuke the spirit. You know what I mean? You could be like, nah, devil, not today. You know what I mean? You could, hey, I don't see, I don't rebuke somebody, hey, you got a devil on you. Okay, next thing I see, reading the Bible, listening to lessons, and now it's like, oh, man, I'm back to, you know what I mean? I'm back to normal, because that's what it takes. So even right here, Paul is letting you know is that, hey, look here, you got to put on the whole armor of God. Verse 12 says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world. What else to say, Jay?
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
You see that, against spiritual wickedness in high places, verse 13.
Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God.
Go ahead.
That ye may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all to stand.
You see that? Hey, you need to take the whole armor of God so you could withstand in the evil day. The evil day don't necessarily have to be a particular day. It could be any day. It could be any day. You know what I mean? Hey, when you come across something, because keep reading. What else it say, bro? Verse 14.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
Because we reading the armor of God, the breastplate of truth, the breastplate of righteousness. Your loins girt about with truth. 15.
And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
Go ahead.
Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
You see that? Take all of that. What is saying 18, bro?
Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
You see that? So, man, you can yeah, the devil always present with us. Go to Job real quick.
I don't think there's anything new.
Cool. If nothing else don't come up and they ain't got nothing, we'll close out. Go to Romans 7 real quick. Romans chapter 7. This one right here, boy, it just lets you know, man, there's always a battle right here in the mind, man. Always, man, like, we our own worst enemies. We are. Ain't nobody that you work with, ain't nobody that stay next door to you. It's you. You your own worst enemy. Look at this right here, though. Look at what Paul said. Romans chapter 7. Go ahead and pick it up at verse 14.
For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin.
You see that? So he said, I am carnal, sold under sin, right? 15.
For that which I do, I allow not.
Mm-hmm.
For what I would, that I do not.
Mm-hmm.
But what I hate, that I do.
You see that? He wrestling in his mind. He like, hey, look here, man, for that which I do allow not, for what I would, that do I not. But what I hate,
That.
I'm going to do it. Right? 16.
If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good.
You see that? I consent to the law that is good. You know, if I do that which is good, I consent to the law that is good, right? 17.
Now then, it is no more I that do it,
But what?
but sin that dwelleth in me.
You see that? It ain't me. It's sin that dwelling, because it's naturally inside of you. You know what I mean? It's you always wrestling with yourself. Right here. 18.
For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh,
You see that? That is in my flesh dwell what?
dwelleth no good thing.
You see nothing ain't good dwelling in me. Go ahead.
For to will is present with me,
Go ahead.
but how to perform that which is good I find not.
You see that? Because the will of the Father is always present. It's always present with me.
Form.
Meaning like it's always present with me to do good. But this is why he said, right? This is why he said. But how to perform that which is good, I can't find a way of doing it. It's always present. Right? Keep going. What else it say, bro?
For the good that I would, I do not.
You see that? So you want to do good, but you ain't trying to do that. Go ahead.
But the evil which I would not, that I do.
You see? Hey, the evil, shoot, I'm going to do that. Sin feels so good. Hey, sin feel real good. It really do. You know what I mean? Like, it really feel that good. So you know what? I'm going to be easier to do it instead of doing good. I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Keep reading. What else it say, bro?
Now if I do that I would not, it is more I that do it.
Mm-hmm.
But sin that dwelleth in me.
You see that? It's the sin. Go ahead, bro.
I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me.
You see that? Evil always there. So just let you know is that, hey, man, that stuff don't travel away from you. When you start acting contrary to the word of God, hey, man, like, you got a spirit on you, man. Because they there. Like, they in here. You know what I mean? Like, they ain't, just so far from us because we dealing with the word. Nah, they crowded around us. Because, like, we the ones they trying to prove. We the ones they trying to prove to God that, hey, man, they ain't really about their life. You know what I mean? So it says what? It says, I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. 22.
For I delight in the law of God after the inward man.
You see that? You delight in the law of God, the inward man. But look at what 23 say.
But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind.
You see that? You warn in your mind. Right? And what's happening, bro?
And bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my
You
members.
see that? You bringing that mind into captivity to sin. 24.
O wretched man that I am,
Oh, wretched man that I am. Go ahead.
who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
Go ahead.
I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord.
You see that? I thank God through Jesus Christ. We need Jesus. Yeah, so, you know, man, like, yeah, you go there real quick. And it's without a thought. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even think about it. It be without a thought. So, you know, man, yeah. And it ain't like we in the word don't deal with that. Nah, we deal with it the most. Because we know better. So by us knowing better, it's like it's happening until you kind of like get yourself under control with it. It take time, but you know the flesh is weak. So no matter how good you get at it, you know, you gotta look at Jesus, man. Jesus wept. Like Jesus said, man, pray that this cup be removed from me. He was about to taste death because he was in the flesh. So you got to realize, man, this flesh go through some things. So yeah, that's good. Any comments? No comments. Let me see if we ain't got none online. We can face Jerusalem. We ain't got none on Facebook. We ain't got none on Facebook. Huh? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was on accident. Yeah, I know. Huh? We did kind of start. I think we started at 5. I looked up. I was like, dang, it's 5. I was like, yeah. So yeah, it was an accident. Ain't nothing online. Okay, well we close out. Nobody got nothing else? Oh, for real? Why you just won't ask nothing? You ready to go, Jacob?
Good.
Yeah. Man, what you got? This is the last one, Drew. Okay. Okay.
Great mystery. Is it talking about marriage? And if so, what makes it a mystery? Because if there is not going to be marriages when Jesus returns, then what makes whatever that is a mystery? Pretty sure it's talking about.
Nah, he really just talking about, you know, looking at how Christ, you know, he really just talking about, nevertheless, let every one of you in your particular soul love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. So that's, you know, that's kind of really what he's talking about. You know, in the sense of, he's talking about kind of like how Christ gave himself for the church. He laid down his life. So it's like how men are to be in the same light towards their wife. That's why he said in verse 29, for no man ever yet hate his own flesh, but nourish and cherish it, even as the Lord the church. So that's like the mystery, even in marriages, is that, you know, people don't really know how to look at their spouse like they would look at themselves. You know what I mean? Like I was saying in class, I ain't finna be beating my own face up. So why should I be beating my spouse's face up? You know what I mean? If I ain't finna be I'll be looking crazy as heck in the mirror, cursing myself out from A to Z. Why should I be cursing my wife out from A to Z? So he's kind of going along the lines of just talking about how that is being a mystery, far as in like just looking at the fact that, Christ was like this towards the church. So even we as husbands, we got to be like this towards our spouses. Yeah, that's really what he kind of getting at. Yeah. That's some other kids over there? Oh, okay. A sleepover for real? Oh.
Can only a woman be considered a virgin? Like, what about a man?
Yeah. You said what now?
But I only see about the Bible speak about a woman being a virgin. I don't see anything or hear anything about a man and their virtue.
Well, you got to realize, sis, like, fornication wasn't really going on like that. And, you paying a dowry. Like, you paying for these wives. So it's kind of like you marketing, or it's a virgin. Now, I'm not saying, it was all virgins in Israel. Nah, it was some harlots too. But like, you got to realize is that, the father was able to like sell off his daughters, and the virgins went for a high price. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know how to word it in a better way. It look like pimping, but but it ain't pimping. It's just the idea, like with my daughters, I got 4 of them. Like, I ain't gonna hold the men like they was held in the Bible, cause nobody ain't got $50,000. Cause that's what I asked for. Not to go in somebody's pockets. If I'm gonna say $1 million, they might not. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah. He said the brother said, hey, he gonna pay what she's worth if he got all that money. So yeah, hey, if he got money and I see that, then yeah, I'm gonna go for the gusto, but I ain't finna really like, dude really in love with my daughter and he really ain't got it like that. I might ask for 50 if he can't afford 50 and they really in love and he really serving God. I'd be like, all right, man, we'll do installments. Yeah, but nah, man, you gotta realize, like, go to Galatians real quick. Go ahead, sure.
Because I was going to say, like, what's the importance of money being exchanged for a woman? Like, why are they even doing that? Like a father wanting money in return for his daughter.
Because in some senses, you able to take care of my daughter. In some cases, it's being able to take care of the young lady. In some cases, you know what I mean? But that's just what the father was able to do. He's the father. That's his possessions. You know what I mean? Them his children. So he got that right to do that. You know what I mean? Like, he don't raised up his daughters in fearing God. They don't kept themselves from no man. Like, go to Genesis 18 real quick. Like, this was a custom. You know what I mean? Like, this was a custom amongst Israel. You know what I mean? Like, and the reason why I say amongst, because what we finna read right here, like, Lot's children, they weren't Israelites. They were Shemitic, but they wasn't Israelites. but they still, follow behind this custom. So, if you got just think about it. If you got a bunch of virgin women, you got to have a bunch of virgin men. You know what I mean? Because, like, they ain't getting none of the women virgins. So, and it just wasn't a lot of that type of stuff going about within Jerusalem, far as in, like, it is, but it is and it isn't. The reason why I say that, because in our time it is, because it's so rare to find out a man is a virgin. You know what I mean? It's kind of rare. So, to that extent, I would. The reason why I would go along with the fact that it's precious is because of what I see in the Bible. As far as in, like, they able to, get a diary for the token of their virginity. You know what I mean? Like that, I would see that, yes, as being something precious, is because of that sense. But look at this Genesis, though. Look at this Genesis 18. Not Genesis 18, Genesis 19. Genesis 19. And go and pick it up at 19 and 19 and 31. 19 and 30. Go ahead.
And the firstborn said unto the younger.
19 and 30.
That's where I'm at.
Genesis 19 and 30.
30.
Go ahead.
And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him. For he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters.
Go ahead.
And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there's not a man in the earth to come in unto there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth.
Now let's go to Genesis 18. Genesis 18 now. And now, no, Genesis 19. Genesis 19 and read verse 8. Go ahead.
Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man.
So, Lot had 2 daughters that was it was just a custom. Not custom. It was something that went about in Israel. When we read Deuteronomy 22, it was spoken greatly of. Man, you done brought shame on the virgins of Israel. Like, that's major. Even Jesus talk about a parable about 10 virgins. 5 was wise and 5 was foolish. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's highly respected. It's something that's big I see going on. It's something that was big going on in Israel. So, if you see that, like I said, if you see the women being virgins, you got men that are virgins. You know what I mean? So it's just like, let's read Galatians, because I said we was going to read Galatians. Matter of fact, let's read Revelations 21. We ain't got to read Galatians. 21. Revelations 21 and verse 8. Just read that. One verse. Go ahead.
But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers. Whoremongers is like, prostitution. Like, I'm whoremongering, or I got women that I'm, whoremongering amongst other people. You know what I mean? Like, the Bible says, and only men can make women whoremongers. So it says, but the fearful, the unbelieving, and the abominable, and the murderers, and the whoremongers, and what else? And sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire, and brimstone, which is the second death.
Let's go to Leviticus 19 real quick. This just came to my mind too. Leviticus 19. And let's pick it up at hold on for a second. Leviticus 19 and give me verse 29. That one verse. Go ahead.
Do not prostitute thy daughter.
You see that? So, hey, we ain't out here prostituting the daughters. 29. Leviticus 19 and 29. So it says, do not prostitute thy daughters. Go ahead.
To cause her to be a whore.
You see that? 'Cause, like, that ain't going on. You know what I mean? Keep reading. What else?
Lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness.
You see that? Hey, when you do this with your daughter, you know, when you prostitute her to be a whore, now you're going to cause the land to fall into whoredom. You know what I mean? So, and then it says, and the land become full of wickedness. So, you know, this type of stuff wasn't going on in Israel. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
In this verse that we just read,
Mm-hmm.
when the angels came to Sodom and Gomorrah and another place in the Bible, why were the fathers so quick to offer up their virgin daughters to them?
Because they ain't want them to, not to be killed. They ain't want them to commit sodomy. Well, they wouldn't have committed. It wouldn't have been to the sense of prostitution. It would have been just, hey man, do with her after the custom of a man as with a woman, instead of you taking this man. Because you got to realize, like, that's evil. That's wicked. You know what I mean? So it's not like, it ain't like we dealing with two lesser of evils. We just looking at the idea that Lot said, hey, look here, man, take my daughters, man. Like, don't deal with these men after that manner. That's wicked. You know what I mean? Like, you seriously trying to beat down the door to sleep with another man? That's wicked. So you know what? Hey, kill that. Hey, man, this will probably lessen the situation. Here, take my daughters. You know, like, that's kind of where he was going with that. So it wasn't like Lot was prostituting his daughters. He was just trying to lighten the sin. You know what I mean? Hey, who knows? They probably would have been like, well, shoot, I want to marry your daughter now. You never know how. I mean, never know how that would have played out. But all I'm just saying is that it wasn't Lot prostituting his daughters. It was just the ideal of him lessening the sin. That's really it. Yeah. She don't ask questions no more. You should, though. If I was you, I would, though, for real. Let me just answer something real quick. Just, let's go to Leviticus 11 real quick. Leviticus 11. Earthen vessels are really made from the earth. You know what I mean? Earthen vessels. What we finna read in Leviticus 11, it's kind of like, when you was in art class, when we was in art class, we used to make like mugs. We used to make like a pottery. Like potteries, like that would be considered like an earthen vessel. You know what I mean? So because it's made of clay. You know what I mean? Like you got spoons, or you even got dishes that we finna read that was made of wood. You know what I mean? Like that stuff would be considered like, earthen vessels. So, and it's really just something that you're going to put your food into. But let's go and read it, though. Okay, we got another question online. Hey, Leviticus 11. Leviticus 11, we ain't going to read all of that. Let's get right to it. 35.
And everything whereupon any part of their carcass falleth shall be unclean, whether it be oven or ranges or pots. They shall be broken down, for they are unclean, and shall be unclean unto you.
Go ahead.
Nevertheless, a fountain or pit, wherein there is a plenty of water, shall be clean.
Hold on, that ain't what I want. Hold on for a second. Is it in 32? Yeah. Read 32.
And upon whatsoever any of them, when they are dead, doth fall, it shall be unclean, whether it be any vessel of wood, or raiment, or skin, or sack, whatsoever vessel it be, wherein any work is done, it must be put into water, and it shall be unclean until the even, so it shall be cleansed.
So it says, it's just talking about, it shall be unclean, whether it be any vessel of wood, raiment, or skin, or sack, whatsoever vessel it be, wherein any work is done, it must be put into water, and it shall be unclean until the evening. So, in this sense right here, it's just talking about, my phone went dead. Right. Or it's, in essence, I think it's just talking about breaking it down and cleaning it. You talking about in 35. Yeah, it says, whether it be oven or ranges for pots, they shall be broken down. For they are unclean and shall be unclean unto you. But nevertheless, a fountain or a pit wherein there is plenty of water shall be clean. But that which touch her carcass shall be unclean. 35 is just talking about just break down clean or whatever. But my phone just went dead. It's just huh? What? No, it came back up. No, it was just answering, just. No, it was something I was touching on. That was real. You know what I mean? Something I was curious about. A earthen vessel. Hold on for a second. We finna get ready to deal because I know y'all gotta get on the road. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I just saw. Go to Leviticus 6 right quick. Appreciate you, Drew. Leviticus 6 and 28. Or start at 26. Go ahead.
The priest that offereth it for sin shall eat it. In the holy place shall it be eaten, in the court of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Come on now. Go ahead. Verse, where you at? Verse 27?
27.
Go ahead. Tiana, you'll get her. So extra. Go ahead, read 27 again.
Whatsoever shall touch the flesh thereof shall be holy. And when there is sprinkled of the blood thereof upon any garment, thou shalt wash that whereon it was sprinkled in the holy place.
Read 27 one more time.
Whatsoever shall touch the flesh thereof shall be holy. And when there is sprinkled of the blood thereof upon any garment, thou shalt wash that whereon it was sprinkled in the holy place.
Go ahead.
But the earthen vessel wherein it is sodden shall be broken. And if it be sodden in a brazen pot, it shall be both.
Go sit down. Go sit your butt down. We're in Leviticus 6. We're in Leviticus 6 and we on verse 28. So an earthen vessel is really just like a pot. You know what I mean? It is really, you know, it says a brazen pot. It shall be both scoured and rinsed in water. That's really what it is. You know what I mean? An earthen vessel is just really it. Like today we, you know, you can say Tupperware is a type of earthen vessel if you want. You know what I mean? It comes from plastic. It comes from plastic. Where did plastic come from? Do plastic come from trees?
Plastic's petroleum.
Petroleum?
I mean,
That comes from the earth, don't it?
metal comes from the ground.
Yeah, so it would be somewhat considered an earthen vessel, but that's really what it is. So you know,
I think more
plates,
clay, right?
Yeah, okay.
I think more of clay.
Yeah, and then you got plates. That's sand.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, we just. Can y'all know? Go over here. Have a seat. No. But yeah, that's really it. You know, as far as just an earthen vessel, it's just something that we we eat off of earthen vessels, plates. You know what I mean? That glass is made from sand. We drink out of it. The glass is sand. You know what I mean? So, that's really it. There's nothing really unclean about them, unless you got something unclean in them, and you don't wash them or whatever the case is. But that's kind of really it. But yeah, though, Candace, you can hold the rest of them until, because they got to get on the road. You know what I mean? So, and Jay, you screenshotted that? And Jay got a question about the woman at the well. So we'll deal with that. Julius will be here. Julius will be here next, Evan. Ah, dang, what that mean?
Wow.
Dang. She's silly.
That's rough.
She's silly. I'm going to tell him, too. He listening, too.
Our Father,
which
art in heaven,
hallowed
be thy name. Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
As
it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
As
we forgive our debtors. And lead us not. Into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.